All right, I'll bring the meeting to order. I'm Don Berube from 135 River Road.
Adam Sandall, 9 Edgewood Drive.
Carrie Mackinnon, Community Development Director. Jess Duke, 50 Brown Hill Road.
Ben Davis, 9 Wheeler Road.
Michael Lawton, 3 Asa Drive.
Jonathan Petrangelo, 5 Whittier Drive.
Sandy Crystal, 1 Shoreview Drive.
Chris Nicolopoulos, Select Board Rep, Buckingham Drive.
Ginger Iverson, Recording Secretary.
All right, we'll start off on minor modifications, consent quotations. We have HLF South LLC, minor modification of site plan for a ground level office trailer for auctions at the developed site located at 16 Evolution Drive.
Do you want to just clarify who's voting tonight before we get too far along?
Yeah, so we
Need one alternate.
Need one alternate. You're up, Jess.
Just have a seat.
How you doing?
I'm Mike Keel from Capone, Facility Manager.
I'm Dave Camden from Capone.
Tell us what you want to do.
Oh, all right, yeah. We're looking to install a United Rental ground level trailer for auction. We hold an auction every other Saturday. It's a closed bid auction, so we have people, they'll come up typically probably like Friday afternoons and Saturday mornings. Our auction, right now we hold it at 7:20 in Bow. And we're gonna move it up to, we're looking to move it up to 16 Evolution Drive. It's a ground trailer, it's 8 foot wide by 40 foot long.
Yeah,
It's an office trailer.
It's like a container, really. made into
Yeah,
a-
it's basically, it looks like a container. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
There's a picture right there. So it contains an office space and then there's restroom facilities as well.
Yeah,
And I think that must go into a tank or something, a holding tank is it for the,
correct, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a little nicer than a porta potty.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I'll probably have a porta potty up there too, just in case.
What do we need to?
So this is just a minor modification.
Yep.
It's, for everyone's reference, it's at the end of Evolution Drive. It's a site where they use for storing vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we currently store vehicles there, it's our
big
overflow
parking
lot.
It's a big parking lot.
Yeah.
And so it's a pretty minor change, so we told them, just draw it up, show us where you're gonna put it, what it's gonna be. So on this plan, you can see this is the trailer here, they showed us where the tanks are gonna be. It was kind of a joke, I was like, well, show us where the cars are gonna park.
There you go.
All in the yellow area.
A lot of parking spots, but they did show us which ones are gonna be used for the auction staff and visitors, and then which ones would be used for the auction vehicles. Just to kind of show how the site would be laid out, and that there's still plenty of room.
And these auctions are like to dealers, right? Other small.
Yeah, it's bonded dealers only, it's definitely, it's a sealed bid, so it's not like we have, 100 people show up at one setting. So they can come and view our cars, like on a Thursday or Friday, but generally we typically don't have more than a handful there at any given point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there will be some, the vehicles would be picked up after they purchase the vehicles.
And previously, a building has been approved there with the use of selling cars, so the use has already been approved for the site.
Yeah.
This is just kind of a small change for right now.
And
So
where
it's
did you
just,
say you're doing the auctions now?
Every other Saturday.
No, but where?
7:20.
7:20,
Route 3A.
Route 3.
right.
3A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a minor modification, so you don't need to hold a public hearing. You just need to accept it as complete, consider regional impact, and see if there's any conditions you need to attach to it.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to accept as complete.
A second.
All in favor?
I'll make a motion that it does not have regional impact.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any conditions we should be aware of?
I can't really think of anything.
Okay.
As far as waivers go, if you wanna grant one big waiver for most of the site plan requirements due to the fact that this is just a minor modification, I mean, obviously we didn't ask them to redo stormwater calcs or any of those things that you would see in a full site plan application, this is.
Put like a day.
Yep. So if somebody wanted to make a motion to offer a waiver to the site plan requirements, just make one big general one that would cover.
Make a motion to offer waiver to site plan requirement.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approve. The next motion, approve a minor site plan modification. That's my motion.
I'll second.
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve as a minor site plan modification.
Thank you.
Seconded by Sandy Crystal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
So findings of fact, there wasn't major changes from the original plan of use.
And who voted on, do they have to vote on that again?
Anything else?
I think that's good.
Just that minor.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor of the findings of fact?
Aye.
Jonathan made a motion and Jessica seconded.
He's getting out in 7 minutes, a new record.
Might be.
All right, moving on to conceptual consultation for Keller Products, Inc. Conceptual consultation for industrial building addition located at 170 River Road.
Good evening. My name is Bob Keller. I obviously happen to live in town at 28 Rocky Point Drive. Been there since 71, 72. Been involved in a lot of town activities over a period of time, but once you get over 80 years old, you kind of take a step back, let the younger folk take care of it. The reason I'm coming before you because this was kind of my pet project when I graduated from college in 1965 after my dad bought the property. And this property essentially has been pretty well fully developed in 40 to 60 years ago. Essentially nothing from a structural point of view has changed since 1985. All the buildings I was involved in were built under my tutelage during that time frame. And what we have now is that we have we're looking to do is to build a relative, in my mind, a small warehouse, unheated, and it's primarily to store aluminum extrusions. And the reason we need the additional space at this point in time is because we've expanded our product line, and it's going to require a whole series of new extrusions, and therefore you need a place to put them under cover. So the building will be sprinkled. It will not be heated, and there'll be no amenities. There is a pit inside, so when the extrusion trucks come in from Georgia and Tennessee, we unload them inside. There'll be a big crane, overhead crane, you take the top off the roof, and you utilize the crane to unload the trailer and then put them into the racks. And when I'm basically the reason to do this, it's 78 by 120, a little over 9,000 square feet. And I think if on the property we have in the vicinity of 125,000 square feet of buildings, in different facilities. They house different family operations, and it's a small, and what is it, roughly somewhere between 19 and 20 acres, and the amount of pavement is relatively small. I had it calculated out at maybe in the vicinity of 135,000 square feet. The building's 125,000 square feet. You have roughly 800,000 square feet of surface area, so you don't come close to the 80% rule. And, you know, say the site has been totally built out except for this one small addition. And so I was looking to get a waiver on all the other things you gotta go through, because it's an existing site, been in existence for probably more than most of you people weren't born 60 years ago.
Yeah, so for a little context of why he came in for a conceptual consultation is the site's a little unusual in that it was developed before there was site plan review. So it's a modification, but there is no site plan to modify. And the fact that, you know, the site's fully developed, there were never any stormwater calculations done, there's no drainage design. He does have some plans that have been drawn up, they're not official survey plans. So he was trying to get a sense from the board of what exactly you want to require of him for this, because it's kind of an unusual situation.
Carrie, can you pull up the plan just so I understand what building?
Yeah,
It's this, this
so it's in
area.
the kind of bottom right corner, it's hatched.
Which is
That
the,
hatch.
the opposite corner from the entrance, right?
You see the start, yeah, yeah. right
Yeah.
on. And the piece of property adjacent to that is another piece of property we own, roughly 25, another 25 acres that backs into that piece of property that takes us out to Route 3A.
And the trucks come in all from the
All
left-hand
from,
side?
from River Road,
Okay.
yeah.
And that overhead crane's just gonna feed from that
In
big?
that one, in the addition there, the building 78 by, there'll be an overhead crane built in that spans across the full 78-foot thing, so that you can just move around and be able to maneuver over the trucks and unload them properly and safely. Right now, we unload outside on a thing, and, you know, obviously in the winter and stuff like that, even when it's bad weather, it's probably not the best thing to do, so. While we did it, we decided we'd built it inside so that no matter what the weather conditions are, you know, it's gonna be a much safer operation. And right now, you do it with a forklift too, which is, you know, can be a little, a little challenging at times.
So is that under the building now paved where you're planning on
No, there's
putting
no
that?
paving, no additional paving.
No, but where the building is,
Yeah.
was that going, what's there now, what's the ground?
Oh, it's just regular ground trees and stuff,
Okay,
yeah,
So it is an additional impervious.
yeah.
Yeah, so the question is, what do you wanna see from him? Are you comfortable with a plan like this? Do you want more?
I mean, I've seen the site, I've actually been past, cut through to walk to my
Yeah,
work, and, this is this back corner, you know, so I don't think there's drainage issues, cause everything's out, you know, it's the far corner from the road. And it's his property still on the other side. I think that kinda goes up from there too, right, there's a,
yeah,
little bit of
it
a-
goes up slightly, that's right, yeah. And going out from that building, it's pretty flat, going all the way over. And if you kind of go to the left, and of course, it drops off way down to the river, you know, it drops about 75 feet, because we're like on a little plateau.
so when this is, so there's not gonna be access out of the back side of the building, you bring any,
The only access is through the rear of the building. The trucks come along and they back in there, and they back into the inside pit and unload. Let me see, okay. I thought I had another print, I made my guys.
Is it on the long end of the building that the access is?
Yeah,
my
yes,
too.
right,
So
exactly,
The new
sorry.
building is gonna, the new addition is down
The
here.
it's 78 foot wide, 120 feet long, and that's right, they back
and
in
they'll
at
come
the
into
end of the
that
building.
So
new
you will have to
addition.
build new pavement
No, there's no
all the
new
way
pavement.
along?
Right now, once you get to the edge of the other buildings, everything is just a gravel road. And that's the way it's been for 40 years. We had no plans to do it. The trucks come in, it's hard
It's all
packed.
gonna stay gravel.
It's always gonna stay gravel, yeah.
Are there wetlands out there at all?
No,
Sand,
sand,
lots and lots of sand.
yeah.
In Mo? So Gary, until you hit rock.
If we want to make a motion to allow him, his few additional requirements, what would that motion look like?
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a motion, you can't actually make any binding decisions in the conceptual consultation, it's just for you to give him some direction, and then next month he'll come back with an full.
I'm already signed up for the next meeting.
Okay.
So, you know.
He's gonna,
so,
adjust his
notify me.
I would like to
Based on
see a
what you
little
say.
bit, you know, just where the gravel is gonna be, you know, where you're backing in, just so there's something that, here's how the trucks run.
Could we, I know Dawn's been there, but
Yeah.
I guess I would sort of like to take a look. So I don't know whether we wanna have a site walk to just,
Not be a bad idea.
Before this meeting.
Well, we can make those arrangements, that's, yeah, absolutely. Yep, I was just trying to visit.
I mean, I'm fine with this plan, I mean, it just would be, the only extra thing that would be nice is to see where travel area is.
Okay,
What's gonna be,
yep, oh, yeah, I can easily just add, yeah, because I can see if it in the building, I can show you where the path, where the trucks come in and go around. Yeah, but it would be, obviously, you'd be fully satisfied, obviously, if people took a look at it, because it's right there, it'd be
Yeah.
right at you.
We did have a look at it with staff, fire was just concerned about sprinklers, but he said that it's gonna be sprinklered, so that takes care of that concern.
We've had our building sprinkled since day one. Remember,
you
we
got
had
a
our
fire
own
pond.
pond, a million
Which you're on
gallons,
the
and until we
town
got
water
onto
now.
town water, then we decommissioned that pond and used town water. And get much better insurance rates.
and you keep all your smell inside very good now.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Bow, which I'm right up the street, it used to not be so good, but
Yeah.
no issues for a long time now, so.
And then, of course, the building itself will give the plans, it's a steel building typical by one of the standard steel building manufacturers that be designed to whatever design loads are, it has to be signed off by the town engineer. So, and I think I've already gave him a rough plan, but
Yeah,
Yeah, which has to build inspector will.
Yep.
Be sure you build. Yeah,
so if you go and take a peek at the property, that should answer that question. So I could add a little more to the drawing. I just wanna, I have to order the building because, tariffs and everything, the steel prices against, everything's jumping,
I don't see
including the
any
cost of the
issue.
crane.
Like I said, it would just, so the town actually has some record too of where your travel area
The
is.
travel
what your-
path, that's a reasonable request, absolutely, not a problem. I can get that to you, within a few days.
Anybody else have any? Alright,
do we wanna?
so site walk.
Our next
You
meeting's
might-
the 15th.
You might have at least one other one that you wanna schedule too, so I don't know if you wanna do it together or separate. I'm guessing for the truck sign. Soon,
Yep,
May 10th? Yeah, so the next meeting is May 15th. So do you wanna do a Saturday or an evening now that we have daylight?
yeah, it is daylight.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
it's still light out now. That works.
So you're gonna do it during the workday?
No,
Usually
it would
not.
be
after work,
after,
the end of the workday.
if we end up, doing the, maple syrup one there, we'll, probably go there for 5:30
Don't look at me, I don't usually come,
on,
so.
on a night out.
15th, 5:30.
On the night, are we gonna try to
Night
do
of the
both?
meeting or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't,
I don't know, what do you think?
that might be a lot, cause aren't they kind of larger sites?
The other ones.
And the other one's not developed, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this,
This one won't take long.
yeah, I think we could do this one
We could
before
do
the
this,
meeting,
yeah.
but I don't
So
know
you
about
wanna
that
do
other one.
one of this, we'll plan for
Let's
this
just plan for this one.
for 6 then?
Yeah, 6.
Sure.
6 o'clock on the 15th, does that work for you?
Say again?
6 o'clock on May 15th, and
Yeah,
then the meeting is.
because there's a couple of gates I have to unlock to get in, because, some people go in and we've had stuff stolen and stuff like that, so. The one have to leap over the fence.
Perfect. So May 15th
Does
at
that
6.
work for you though, 6 It's
Sure,
right
6
before the
o'clock
meeting?
on the 15th?
And then the meeting will be here at 7 after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll only take 5 minutes, it's, you know,
Yep.
take 3 minutes to walk around and see everything. Because, you know, the land is essentially cleared where we're gonna put that building, so.
Great,
All set. Well, thank you very much.
thank you.
You're all set. You're allowed to leave now if you have.
You are dismissed, thank
Oh, we
you.
have something.
Yeah,
You're dismissed, thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
All right, now we get into our public hearings. We got application number 401-25. Well, heck, that one pretty good.
Waiting for it.
Where's the house?
Orchowski Boer Family Trust, conditional use permit application for proposed 56 by 30 detached barn, including a 757 square foot accessory dwelling unit with 544 square feet of habitable area located at 78 Bulldog Road.
Jennifer Moore.
I'm Brian Wojciechowski.
I knew that was us. So we're building a barn, a garage, ADU. And we're replacing a shed row that was approximately 30 by 50 feet. So we're tearing that down and putting up this hobby workshop garage.
With an in-law apartment.
Yes.
And really, the only reason I hear is because of the ADU, right?
Because it's a detached
The
ADU.
detached ADU.
Exactly. Show you guys what the lot looks like.
This is the first one.
Yeah, we did one on Brown.
This is what the lot looks like.
It was a zoning bill.
They already have 2 driveways, so this is the house, and then the green roof, is that the barn you're taking down?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
so
a barn
this,
that's not there anymore.
Yeah, we just took it
Sorry,
down.
John.
Yeah, we got the okay.
and so that's the same approximate location where the ADU would
Got it.
go.
Yeah.
And I can show you it looks like. But it meets the size requirements and all of the other requirements. The only reason they're here is because it's detached. So this is what it's gonna look like. I think it looks quite
nice.
beautiful.
Thank you.
There's lots of windows. It looks like a barn that kind of belongs on a historic property.
Yeah.
It includes a overhang for an RV storage on
Yes.
this side.
And then the back is the apartment.
And then it's downstairs. Where's the?
The front is all open and so just the back.
Yeah, so just the back part of it is the apartment.
So we have to accept it as complete first. So I'll make a motion to accept application number 401-25. Ford Family Trust /
I know.
Ski as complete.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, next.
We've accepted it.
Great. I'll make a motion that there's no regional impact.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody else have any questions about that?
So you'll be, oh, it's not done yet. We're just getting started. So you have to consider the conditional use permit criteria. And 12.05 sounds right, and there's a letter included in your packet, that explains how. So the criteria are that there's specific authorization for the use in the table of use regulations, which there are. No, I'm in the wrong. That it will comply with all the requirements of the article. It will not materially endanger the public health or safety. will be compatible with the neighborhood and with adjoining or abutting uses. Will not have a substantial adverse impact on highway or pedestrian safety, and it will not have a substantial adverse impact on natural resources. And it'll be adequately serviced by necessary public utilities and community facilities, et cetera. So those are the criteria you're weighing against.
So is the, for a septic approval, is that something you've gotten already? Okay, from the state?
Yeah.
So we'll have its own septic system.
It does, yeah. Yeah, our other one doesn't even have a year on it. The house was built in 1850. We don't have any information on that one. So we had to do a whole new one.
And you're able to use the same well?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Is there already electrical and other utilities out there, or you're gonna have to run?
Well,
There was electrical out there, it was just continued to take off the barn, but yeah, we're gonna upgrade the electrical to 200.
yeah, so we're basically running it new, even though there was lines out there before and water lines before. We're sort of like redoing the whole thing, coming from our house now to the barn.
Like that electric probably all underground.
Yes,
All underground.
and conduit, yep.
There were no concerns from staff.
So is there a public hearing?
Yeah. All right, I will open this up to the public. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Anything else we need to do?
I think you're ready for a motion.
Why not?
Great job.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept,
Approve.
approve application number 401-25, Orchakowski Boer Family Trust.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There you go. Good luck with the
Thank
garage.
you.
Looks great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
I will say, my garage is only 30 by 52, so you got me beat a little bit.
The garage mahal.
Findings of fact.
I'm a firm believer the garage should be bigger than the house.
That's right. So we need findings of facts before we get too far along.
So I'll make a motion that the findings of fact was that the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety.
You don't have to list them all, you can just
I
say the
don't-
criteria in 12.05.
It meets the rest of the criteria per the 12.05 zoning ordinance.
If you wanna add anything additional about
Meets the
the aesthetics, that it's appropriate for the historic nature of the property.
That sounds good.
It's aesthetically pleasing, well-designed.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Who was the motion?
I made.
Jonathan made a motion.
Or did I?
Someone did.
Throw in your voice.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. All right, moving right along.
It's 3:15.
Somewhere.
All right, application 402-25, Eversource Energy, wetland protection conditional use permit for 7,009 square feet of wetland buffer impact to access and replace 4 structures along the 334G transmission line corridor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think we're gonna slow it down a little.
We've been running at an average of 9 minutes, guys.
Can't guarantee you that one.
I know you got a lot of paper.
I notice
A
you
lot of
also
paper.
have a lot of paper. So does that, we always bring plans just because we have 11 by 17s.
Yeah, so we don't get color ones,
Yeah.
so sometimes if there's
You
a
guys
color.
want colored ones?
Yeah.
We brought them.
Yeah.
15.
May I have one then?
I think we're gonna tell you to look at grid grid now.
Let me see if there's- And those are the full CUP applications.
Yeah.
But,
I would say for the future, you don't feel like you have to print the full thing to be able to do it.
I swear somebody did print them for a Conservation Commission meeting, so we're just recycling.
Okay, good.
Sorry, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Connor Madison, I'm from GZA, on behalf of Eversource, and then I think you introduced yourself.
I have not. My name is Jacob Kwapczewski from
Oh
Eversource.
my. That's like the last.
I'll spell it for you. KWAPISZESKI.
That's how I would've done it.
It's Irish.
That's why I let you introduce yourself. And we're here for a conditional use permit application for impacts to the Wetlands Conservation Overlay District. I believe you have seen Eversource before, so I apologize if I kind of skim through this, but feel free to ask questions. This is a proposed structure replacement project on the 334G distribution line. The project site location is by the Garvin's Falls Hydro Dam off of Garvin's Falls Road. This project does go through Pembroke, Concord, and Bow, so it is part of a larger project, but for just the town of Bow. There's a proposed 3 structures to be replaced. 2 of those structures are 2-pole structures, and then 1 is a 3-pole structure. Eversource inspects their wood infrastructure and looks for any insect damage, woodpecker damage, water rot, any cracks. And this year, these 3 were flagged in the town of Bow. So they're being proposed to be replaced with steel. So this would be a wood to steel structure replacement project. This area actually already has an existing access road, so that is kind of the black dot on the plans before you. Just kind of a black dotted road to each of the red structures. So that is existing because there has been other maintenance projects going on in this area for the transmission lines. So we'll be utilizing that road, and then for the actual structure replacement from wood to steel, Eversource is proposing a 50-foot by 100-foot new gravel. That is that orange hatching. And that new gravel is for a safe work, kind of a safe work pad for the structure replacement. So we'll have bucket trucks, drills, potentially a crane, potentially just a digger to bring it up. At the end of the project, that will be restored to about a 30 by 60 area for this project. So it won't stay 50 feet by 100 of gravel. It will be taken back. So that is, there are no wetland impacts for this project. There is proposed wetland buffer impact, which is 7,009 square feet, and that is before the restoration. So we're permitting for the whole thing there. As for other permits, all the construction will be done by the 2019 BMP manual for utility maintenance projects. We'll also be submitting a wetland permit by notification for Pembroke, Bow, and Concord for all of these, as well as an alteration of terrain permit for the proposed gravel. This section doesn't require an AOT by itself. AOT kind of looks at the entire project, so it is Concord and Pembroke together for that alteration of terrain, which the town received in early February. We're still waiting to hear back from that. We'll also be submitting a shoreland permit by notification to the state for being within the 250-foot zone of the Merrimack River. All of these permits do require extensive coordination with Fish and Game. Fish and Game and Eversource actually talked, and then Eversource will be constructing this project starting in October to March. So that's utilizing the non-growing season for plants, and then the turtle hibernating, everything's kind of underground and sleeping. So it's the best time to work during the inactive season. So it is kind of a smaller project than I think you have seen in the past. It'll be maximum up to 6 months if I'm not sensitive enough for too much there.
Yeah, likely considerably less.
We'll also have EPA construction general permit, so that requires a SWIP, a stormwater pollution prevention plan. We'll also be out there weekly inspecting the erosion controls. In this case, it'll be silt sock or silt fence along each of the work areas. We're not allowed to use anything that has plastic welding. That's a Fish and Game requirement. So it will be all fabric type material. And like I said, we'll be out there weekly, making sure that that's all functioning properly. I believe that's kind of it. if I ran through that quickly. Was there anything I forgot?
I just wanted to call attention to the plan set that you had up on the screen. That was a prior revision, which utilizes a revised access route. So the plans that were provided to you here tonight are the currently proposed access plan, which is a similar upland buffer impact, but utilizing established access ways. So all in all, a lesser impactful option.
Yeah, I think I
That's a
just
sketch.
saved, I didn't update the one in this folder.
Yeah, that's quite all right. This one is more accurate, so.
Yep, and the access routes that we have depicted on the plan set were the ones that we walked at the site walk. It would be last Friday with the Conservation Commission and others.
Yep, one of the issues that the Conservation Commission identified was not really this project, but right adjacent to where they've sought a permit for working, there's a huge wood pile of, I don't know, is it 12 by 12 paper, large wood stuff that's sitting in the buffer. That
What's
really
timber
should be
matting or
removed.
something, that's like.
It looks like timber matting, but
there's-
it's pressure treated, which we don't use for our construction materials, and there are other, looks like, temporary railing. There's some other, appear to be bunks or something like that. They appear to be dam operations related. They do extend partially into our easement, but the bulk of it is off of our easement. Certainly is a complicating factor between holder of a utility easement with the underlying property owner.
Yeah, the commission felt that it needs to be removed before they do their work. And the other suggestion that was made is, if it's possible in some of these areas to put up a wetland buffer marker, that wouldn't affect your work areas or need to get in there, it might be good to kind of alert people that maybe they should ask some questions in the future.
Yeah, so I think whatever can be done in association with the project, I don't know how much we can hold them to if it's not their stuff and not entirely even in their easement, but as much as you can assist. And then I think the town will also have to approach it as a code enforcement issue.
I figured that would be probably a default
Yeah.
option, right?
Totally unrelated, take a walk down the railroad tracks and get the railroad to stop throwing railroad ties in the river.
They toss them next to each other.
Well, if you see that, then, I guess it's also hard to know, is somebody else doing it?
Oh, no, when they replace them, they
They
toss them aside.
them, yeah.
They're lining the rail bed, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, like I said, totally unrelated.
I'd like you to clean that up too.
Good luck with the railroad.
Sandy, did you get photos when you visited?
Yeah, I put
So
it
you did
into
put them
cloud
in. You did. I
permit
remember
of that pile.
Okay,
Yeah.
so next week we can look at that from a code enforcement perspective too.
Okay. Okay,
As far as their project and doing this, that's.
I think if you're able to help put pressure on them also.
Yeah,
that
I
it can
think
help.
so to be frank, we have a very close working relationship with the dam operator. They have gated access on the riverside of the railroad tracks. Access to our location at structure 253, which includes pole 253 and 253A, requires us to access over their private road. So we do try to play nice in the sandbox, so to speak. So we certainly don't wanna rock the boat. We will ultimately have to conduct outreach to coordinate our work with their operations. So it is part of the plan to have those conversations to elevate the concerns raised by the Conservation Commission in the town.
Yeah, I mean, if you can tell them that.
yeah, I was
You're
gonna
gonna
say,
heads up so they don't
Yeah,
get in
just
trouble
hey,
from the
heads
town.
up, we have a project, oh, by the way, we're impacting the buffer. However, there's some pre-existing buffer impacts that is on the radar, totally understood.
right, and if you don't remove them voluntarily, you may
coming.
be asked in a
Yeah.
more strong manner
Yeah.
to remove them. Yeah, I looked back at the Google Earth, I know you had said you looked at Google Earth, it's probably like 2016 or 2017 when the stuff was, at least some of it was put there.
Yeah, if you go back in Google Earth, it appears to have been utilized as a laydown area for as long as you could go back in time on Google
Until it
Earth.
gets too blurry.
At our buffer requirements.
So,
I'm just thinking of who did it.
Right,
so yeah, ultimately, we'll have to coordinate in construction, because they'll have their operations ongoing, obviously, as a hydro facility. You know, we have our needs as a operating utility in the area. Ultimately, we all tie into the substation, so.
Okay, so we need to accept this complete.
yes.
I'll make a motion to accept this application as complete.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public service.
Isn't that public hearing?
Well,
Regional impact, so it is right on the boundary of the town, but the other towns are also involved in the project, so they are already very aware of it, so I don't think that's a concern.
They'd have regional impact if they don't get to do it.
Yeah, sure would.
I'll make a motion that application 42-25 does not have regional impact.
a second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There you go. Public hearing. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody from the public at the time, questions, comments? Not seeing any, I'll close the public hearing.
I just have one question, just in response to, and I don't know how close this is to other property that's down there, but if I recall, there was issues with restoring it to as much to the existing condition after they're done with the work.
Well, that's another line that we looked at
Okay.
last Friday and
So
Any
that would be
questions
my
about-
only question is, we've had concerns on previous projects down there near this with the abutting property owners in the condition that the
oh,
Going through
property
the
is
field and-
made.
that
Oh,
was, that was me.
that was
Someone
actually addressed by me.
Okay.
I met with Mr. Lindquist after the site visit with Sandy and others, and addressed as much of those concerns as I could.
Yeah,
at
there
that-
had been some
that time.
earlier that had
Yep.
been addressed
Yep.
once, but I guess there was still some.
Yeah, there were some remaining erosion control BMPs that were impacting his ability to utilize his field for hay production. After talking with the property owner, he gave me permission to bring my truck down into his field to remove those materials, so.
So one thing that Sandy and I had discussed was whether we wanted to ask for photos or some sort of evidence or hold a site walk afterwards to just provide some confirmation that the restoration occurred as it was expected. And then also, I think if you provide us photos afterwards to show that it was restored properly, then you have that evidence too, to, if it looks different later, you can say,
Of
when
course.
our workers left, it looked like this.
Yep, yeah, we routinely take photos throughout the construction process, and it's not out of the ordinary to host communities during the restoration phase, so that we can, if there are any issues identified, we can rectify them before we demobilize from the site. So if that's something that would be of interest to the town, we can certainly accommodate that.
So I don't know if you would like to physically see it, if you'd like to request the conservation commission take a look, if you just want photos, how would you like
Does the
to?
confirmation commission want
Yeah, I
to
think-
check it out
Is it
afterwards?
too much to ask for pre and post? I mean,
Well, we get pre
We already
into
did
some of the
pre.
applications,
so
so it's
just
really the
have, I
post.
think satisfactory to have just post photos. And then to Carrie's point, you have record, and if there's any sort of issues that come up
Is this
afterwards.
anything that our building inspector looks at afterwards to say they finished it right, or is it good?
Generally for
Yeah.
projects like this,
No, okay.
no.
We do have to monitor it until we get, it's per the state, 70 to 85% regrowth. So given that this project finishes before March, we are gonna have to monitor it into the spring.
Right.
So it will be enticing to go out in April again, but we won't be seeing much, so.
So did we agree to providing the town with photographs, or did you want to stay in touch and we can bring you out to the site as the project is completed, so we can kind of lay eyes on restoration as a group. What's the thought there?
Yeah,
Sure.
The Conservation Commission.
yeah, I
would like
mean,
to
I
go.
think the Conservation Commission may be interested in checking out the restoration toward the
I
end.
think if you're willing to do that, that would be a great service.
Yeah.
So that would be a
Yes.
condition that you'd wanna accept.
Okay.
And then other potential conditions, I don't know what you wanna say about the junk pile, whether maybe use best efforts to work with the property owner to remediate the junk pile. I don't think we can say it must be removed, because I don't think we
Yeah, I
can hold
think-
them to it.
I think they just should give them the heads up, and then if they don't address it, then it's gonna follow the due course of us.
Exactly.
I don't think it should impact this application.
I think it would be reasonable to make a condition that they make efforts to contact the,
Right,
like, work with the landowner and
Okay.
Which
initiate.
will make it easy to work, it'll make it easy to work with them.
Yeah.
They telling us we have to.
And then other conditions are all of the other permits that they listed. They're not all necessarily tied to the Bow project, some of them are for the larger projects.
They
Is it-
all include Bow in some aspect
Okay,
of it.
so it makes sense. So did I get, there's AOT, shoreland, wetland, and EPA general?
Yep.
Is that all of them?
Construction general permit. Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah, I didn't dive into the Army Corps.
You said there's no wetlands on both sides.
Impact, yeah, no wetlands
Just buffers
impact,
and-
it's just buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the wetland permit isn't for Bow impacts,
Correct.
but it's part of the larger project that they're doing.
But we don't need that for it to be a condition.
That's what I was kinda saying.
Yeah, so that one you won't
We
need,
could
cause
take
that one's a
that one
town
off.
by town.
Okay, so we'll take off wetland. Does the shoreland impact?
Shoreline will go into Bow for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty
So-
close.
AOT, shoreline in general. Those.
The EPA and Army Corps.
EPA and Army Corps are both called kind of general permits, so.
Well,
Yeah.
All
the
the
Army Corps one
permits.
is a wetland one too, right? So does that not,
I'm not as,
Apply to
I'm
us.
not as familiar with that, I'll defer to them.
That one's focused on wetlands, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe we don't
So
need
is that one not
Yeah,
tied to
not
Bow?
Army Corps.
Yeah, to make it
Doesn't have
simple,
a
yeah.
C.
Okay, so we're crossing off, so we're down to
Sorry.
three.
For purposes of the work area in Bow, the most significant permits for state would be the alteration of terrain, being as how we're working in uplands. And then from a stormwater pollution prevention perspective, that would be the EPA construction general permit.
And you have shoreland there too.
Correct.
And West Shoreline is
Those are the three.
Those three.
Those are the
those three, final answer.
Alright, any other conditions anyone wants to discuss? And then, of course, you're applying the CUP criteria, the specific wetland ones and the general.
We don't have their letter here, which really goes through and says how they've addressed it.
Did we not?
No. It was in the, it's in the
I thought I put that in there, usually I try to.
stuff that you, the,
Checklist. Did I forget?
on the, in the cloud.
I must have missed it, I usually try to stick that in here, wait, is it not in here?
Yeah, it should be addressed in the project narrative.
Yeah, it's in this, got it.
Page
Oh, okay, it is here,
4 and
I'm sorry.
5, yeah, sorry, I didn't know you guys
Yeah,
had the
it
same thing in
is.
front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want me to go through that? Or do you
Are
wanna,
you making?
do we wanna say that what they've covered?
I'd say as long as everyone reviews it and feels comfortable, you don't have to read it all, but as long as everyone personally feels comfortable enough to make a decision.
I'm good.
Okay.
So, I move, approval of the, wetland, protection CUP, application number 402-25.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Look, you wanna list the conditions?
Yes, so the two conditions are, to, work with the landowner to remove the wood material that's in the buffer adjacent to your work area. And that the, Conservation Commission will, I guess, or, post-restoration inspection will be conducted.
And then the permits,
Shoreland in general.
Oh, right, yeah,
receipt
the,
of other permits.
yeah, and the other permits will be, obtained alteration of terrain, shoreland, permit by notification, and the EPA construction general permit.
What's the permit by notification?
The shoreland permit by
Yeah, the shoreland PBN.
So the conditions were a separate motion, so someone needs to
Second.
second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Candy made the motion and
Second.
Yep.
Everyone voted in favor, it sounds like?
Yes.
Okay. Great, and findings of fact.
We have to keep the power going.
Yeah, we need to keep the grid up. They're following all the rules.
I think they are minimizing the impacts and addressing the restoration as well.
And they've met the CUP criteria in
12.05.
Yes.
12.05 and
5.
10.01. Right, right, yeah.
Yep, sorry.
Is that part of your motion, Donna?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give this one to Ginger just to make sure we get all.
You wanna keep that one?
I'll keep, well, did you get a full package? Oh, no.
She
I'll
can.
keep this one, I'll keep this one for you.
You want to? Trying to pawn them off over here. Thank you.
Thanks much.
Thanks again.
Good night.
You as well.
Moving right along, application 403-25, Kristen Ann Smith, conditional use permit application for proposed 24 by 32 detached accessory dwelling unit located at 93 White Rock Hill Road.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Smith. That's a lot easier than the last couple of names. That should give me bonus points right there, right? Okay, great. We're here today because we are hoping to put a detached ADU on lot 119A, where I am the owner and I'm Kirsten Smith. My parents bought originally 119 when it was just a structure that it got gutted and rebuilt up. And subdivided on either side were pieces of land, and I purchased the one on the left, my sister purchased the one on the right, and that was going to be this wonderful place where we would all live forever. Things have changed in the middle, so we want to keep Mom with us, and so the goal would be to build something for her to be in between both of her daughters and still have her grandchildren right next door. The house in between where Mom and my stepdad live has already sold. So we're working on a plan to get her a safe place to be where she can live with us and stay. So that's the idea behind the 24 by 32, similar to a barn-looking home. We also, it's nothing like that other one, man. That was pretty cool. Ours is going to be much more modest, very cute. We want Mom to have enough space where she has her own bathroom, bedroom, living room, and dining area. It'll all fit in about 768 square feet, so it meets all the requirements. We are going to make it look architecturally and historically like it belongs, because we love where we live and we love our home and take good care of our area as well and love being where we are. So that would be the plan. It would run off of our well. It would require its own septic. We have not gotten a septic plan yet because I did not want to put that cart before the horse, but we did have the surveyor come out and say that we have plenty of space to do that. Then we had a visitation with a parade the other day. So the fire department, the police department, and Terry and the building inspector all came to visit us to see exactly where it would fit, to make sure that it could be accessed by fire and ambulance if needed. And so that's gonna be great. We're gonna just pull a driveway right up to her house, and a walkway off of our walkway. So I think we meet all the specifications for all the easements, and I just hope that we can make this happen with this ADU, so.
I just brought up the lots so you can see the configuration. It's a little bit of an unusual configuration with the lots because it's the family compound. So this is her lot here, this was the one in the middle, and this is her sister, and so there's a shared driveway that kind of sweeps behind the three and comes in the back. The fire department was, and so it's proposed to come kind of up in the front side in this area. And there's a bit of a slope, I'll show you a couple pictures, but the fire department was just concerned that they'd be able to access for an emergency. And so we just decided it'd be easier if they saw it in person. So they came out and they were satisfied once they saw it in person, so that relieved all of their concerns.
I don't know if you have these other renderings that we did.
Let me see if I can pictures.
So does your driveway have the easement to go over that the middle lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was designed.
Yeah, that was
we-
just a few years ago,
Yeah, it
right?
wasn't
You all
long ago.
remember that driveway was fun to put in. It added a good $25,000 to the bill, and I was like, oh my gosh, because, I mean, obviously there's site issues coming up that hill, so it was, adding another driveway there would have been very dangerous, so we get it. It certainly is a lot to plow, if you ask my husband behind you.
I'm sure.
With the four-wheeler.
Your view is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, it's like waking up in vacation every day.
Yeah.
It's just the best place to live in the world.
So this kind of shows, I guess, it's hard to give it perspective, but this is kind of the area where the ADU would go, kind of on the side area. It is sloped, but it can be worked with. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if you have this other, the one with the, kind of where it's gonna be, okay, good, great.
So I'll make a motion to accept application number 403-25, Kristen Ann Smith, as complete.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion, there's no regional impact to this.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. So this, I'm open this to the public. Anybody got any questions, comments? See,
Dan Beauregard, 85 White Rock Hill Road, right next door. One question, I didn't know that there was gonna be a septic, a new septic system. So my well is very close to the property line there, so I'd be interested to see where that design is. Would it be behind it, or?
Which side do you live on?
I'm just northwest of your house, right? You look down on my house, the
Green one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right in our backyard, okay, gotcha. It would be, actually, it'll be further away from your line than my current septic is.
Back, yep,
Yes,
got it.
yep, it won't be anywhere near.
It'll be
Yeah.
Kirsten back here, or?
No, that's where, my current septic is, and if you follow your finger down, my current septic is there.
Yeah.
His
And that's
house
my
is there,
house
and
at the
it's
top.
further away from your house, yeah.
And the septic plan would be reviewed by the town and the state, and they'll
course,
obviously
I
make
understand.
check for you.
Yep.
But that is a very valid concern, yeah, good question.
The other question was, if the house is sold, can this be used as an Airbnb or anything like that? What are the regulations on that? I'm not familiar with the
So
town.
for accessory dwelling units, we require that at least one of the units is owner occupied. So
Yeah.
they couldn't rent out both units, there has to be an owner on premises.
Okay. And you answered my question about first responders, that was all done. I speak in favor of the plan. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, see none, I'm gonna close the public hearing.
So once again, you'll want to consider the CUP criteria. in your packet is, the letter where she addressed the criteria. On the back of the application. Yeah, here it is.
Oh,
It's on the back. I've told people as coaching them through these applications, if you read the CP criteria, I think it's pretty hard to create an ADU that doesn't meet the criteria. But there's the value in bringing them to the planning board is the, you know, the details, it's the aesthetics, is does it make sense, does it fit there?
Yeah.
Anyone else? I'll make a motion to approve application 403-25. And I'll also add that I'll do a second, never mind. End it there. I'll do two separate ones.
Say what? He made a motion
Just a
to approve
motion
it.
to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I'll make a motion for findings of fact as
Should we make sure that the septic design is?
You can, I mean, it's not gonna get approved, it's not gonna get a building permit without it
Okay,
anyway, so
okay.
it's kind of all
Okay.
wrapped up in the process. But if you want to, you can.
Oh, no, I mean, I'm fine, I just didn't know if that needed to be in it, that's all.
There's other processes in place to make sure that it all works out.
Perfect.
motion for findings of fact as provided from Article 12.05 A through G from the applicant.
That they're met?
That they're met.
Yep, okay.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You do good?
Good luck. Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks for your consideration.
That looks a cute little house.
I love seeing these ADUs.
You know, at some point, there's the question about, you know, turn them into Airbnbs. I mean, literally, they could rent these out,
Could.
you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big deal. Thank you. All right.
Trying to lump everything together. Instead of just separating it.
Changing of the guard here.
Let everybody move out.
Round two's gonna roll in.
Stand up.
I won't tell them.
Sit for 2 minutes.
Really not right.
Yeah,
Feels
that's
longer,
right.
I don't
Take
know.
advantage of a break when we got it.
Here you go.
Forgot my water, big mistake.
Yeah.
Not long. Set up a little bit.
Set it up. It's done before.
Wave to the camera, my 3-year-old's watching.
Oh, it's funny.
All right. Application 404-25, Maple Syrup Enterprises, conditional use permit to impact 812 square feet of wetlands and 13,345 square feet of wetland buffer for grading and pavement, located at 1310 Route 3A.
And it's the site plan too.
What's
Love
that?
it.
Oh, and the site plan, so, and application 201-25, Maple Syrup Enterprises, site plan application for proposed 25,324 square foot truck sales, parts, and service facility, and associated parking, stormwater management, and utility infrastructure located at 1310 Route 3A. Welcome.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is.
Good evening, board
Almost
members.
feel it all now.
My name's Matt Ruth here with Tia Fran, and we have Charlie from Ballard here. You guys, I think, are kind of familiar with this property.
We were here before you with a conceptual last time, and I believe there was a previous conceptual before that. So we're proposing to develop the west side of this lot. This lot consists of 28 acres in total, with the majority being to the south of the brook. I specified we're looking at 25,324 square foot building with a mezzanine for park storage. That area is located adjacent to the dock. We're looking at 55 passenger car spaces and a total of 85 truck spaces, 24 of which will be for sales display. And then we are proposing 10 future out here, which have all been incorporated into the drainage design. Last time we were here, we were looking at a much bigger impact on this wetland. That wetland was almost 3,000 square feet last time we were here. We've done some reconfiguring of the truck dock, again, making this big enough so we can do over-the-road trucks and have the ability to get other trucks past it. We've got that down to 812 square feet. The size of this wetland as it is now is about 11,962 square feet total. Part of our proposal is to provide buffer signs along the Bullfrog Brook as well as the wetland edge once we perform that dredge and fill on that. The proposed septic will be in the rear. We are proposing a holding tank for floor drains. As part of this, the service bays, there will be floor drains as well as a wash bay. We have submitted all our permits at this point to the state regarding the wetlands. AOT, DOT has these plans as well, and that's under review. We tried to incorporate their request to make sure that we had plenty of maneuvering room for the trucks on this property simply due to the intersection. So we have widened out these radiuses a little bit to accommodate that. Currently, I believe that there's a big painted island somewhat in the middle. We've removed that to create big enough lane so we have no conflict of movement. Overall, we're looking at about 8.8 acres of disturbance with this proposed project. And with that, I'll leave it up to questions from the board.
You said the entrance, you're gonna open that up?
We had to kind of taper these curves to deal with the 65s. It wasn't.
The traffic lights are already in a good spot, I take it?
Yes, they still work. Yes, yep.
Board got good questions? I think you've been for the Conservation Commission.
We were there Monday night
Yep.
with Sandy and her.
Yeah, and I think, when we have a site walk, we'll be able to get a better idea of the site, but yeah, no, it was good, and they followed up with they were responsive with the some of the Fish and Game correspondence because they worked with them early on addressing the rare species and stuff, and getting digital copy of the wetland permit, which is very helpful, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good project. I mean, this is the town used to own this land. We sold it very reasonable, actually went to a bid. Part of the bid was somebody that could develop it. And you have a purchase and sales with the ones that bought it. So, basically what I'm getting at is the town, we've wanted this developed. That was the idea of, the truck sales, I think goes good with we got a Peterbilt dealer, we have, Equipment East, that's equipment, you know, the heavier equipment. It fits 3A well.
I was part of the select board when we sold this. I'm happy, I'm ecstatic to see it being developed by a use that can kind of take advantage of our, right in the center of two interstates. It's a great project.
Thank you. Back to the purchase and sales, I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh.
It is conditional upon all the wetlands approvals, the town approvals with the seller. The only issue we have, and I'm gonna be perfectly upfront with everybody here, because we appreciate, the town's been nothing but nice to us through this whole process. We've already asked for one extension with the seller, and we were told point blank that they will not grant us another one. We have till the beginning of August to get all this done.
Okay.
I'm not, and I'm just being very upfront with you guys. I don't think that's a problem. I think we still have plenty of time, but this is a two-way street, and we're gonna be here long after I'm dead and gone. And Rob and his family will carry it on when I'm dead, but this is a partnership, and I just wanted to be upfront with you guys and just let you know what's going on, that's all.
Well, I know, you know, one of the things that is, you know, a concern to town is the wetlands and, you know, minimizing that impact. The last time you were here, there was a lot more impact and, you know, so I'm glad to see that that's gotten tightened up and,
Well, there's only 4 of us that worked on it, so. And it was, what, an hour and a half webinar to get that hammered out? It was a lot of fun.
so one of the things, you know, we do gotta schedule a site walk. You know, we can't do this all in one night.
I got flashlights in the truck.
Ready to go?
Kidding.
I've walked that site before, I don't think we could do it in the dark. You just were there, right?
No, I was not at this one.
Okay.
We first have to accept it as complete.
Yep.
Make a motion to accept application number 201-25 as complete.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Roll right into regional impact.
Sure. I'll make a motion that this project does not have regional impact.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I can go through a few things in the staff report if you want.
Yeah.
So we got some comments from staff, department heads, committees. Fire prevention just mentioned that there might be third-party review required for sprinkler
I would
system.
assume based on the size of the building.
Yeah,
it's
he just
pretty
wanted to
typical.
give a heads up on
Yep.
that, so it's not a surprise. From Whitewater, Dan didn't have any major concerns, but obviously as the project moves along, he'll review the details of the water connection and
Yeah, well, one other thing I just wanted to add while you're talking about utilities, they are trying to pursue getting gas to the site as opposed to doing the propane, so just so you're all aware.
We did get, utilities did come back to us last week, this week?
Yeah.
They pretty much sent us a contract, I'm like, whoa. So they're actually gonna do that, which is, we're ecstatic.
Good.
How close is it?
It's right across the street.
It turns and goes down Dunkley.
Yeah, I mean, it's
The
literally
gas line
right
comes down
on the other
3A.
side of the street.
Takes it right on to Dunkley. Well, when they put it in, they were trying to hit as many places and also save the, you know, a water crossing a little further up. I mean, I would've liked it to go by my store, but I was really happy it went by my house.
And those guys were something else to deal with. I mean, this Andrew guy was within 24 to 48 hours, and he was more on the 24 side, always back to us.
That's awesome. Well, you have to tunnel that under the road, like jet under.
I don't, either that or they're gonna cut it, I don't know, one or the other. Either way, we gotta pay for it, I know that.
cutting it for the water line already.
Yeah, so they're
So
gonna-
maybe they can be coordinated.
Yeah.
Oh, cause the water line's the other side and that's,
Yeah, it's on the plan right there too anyways, so saw cut for pavement for water line is in there.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I think that's.
yeah.
That's just one of those cool facts to put in our, you know, in our knowledge.
The only thing that's there that we can't use is the sewer, cause it doesn't go.
It's dry.
It doesn't, yeah, it's dry. I was gonna say it doesn't go anywhere, but either way, we can't use it. But someday, you never know.
Well, we're having meetings this year about it.
And I would, you know, putting in septic, you know, just have that thought that, you know, that could go that way. I mean, it's, I mean, I see you're all back, so I'm not
Luckily,
sure how
we
that
have
works.
plenty of pitch, we don't have to worry about it.
As long as you're, yeah, it's coming out higher, we know which way it goes.
The building inspector had a couple comments about the holding tank, just a discrepancy in the size, and then just some questions about more details on the floor drains.
Yes, we've added notes to the utility plan, address the size of that, put in, frequency of cleaning and whatnot for that as well.
Excellent.
So,
And then do you wanna talk about the dam site a little bit?
I can give you as
Or do you not want
little as I know. Our surveyor did research the dam site. Obviously, historical is tough, New Hampshire's historical, as noted, they didn't want us to touch any stone walls or the dam. My understanding is it's kind of prescriptive rights around the brook for that to be used and that dam for public access.
I believe we included that in the deed when we sold it.
Yes, yeah.
Basically, lightly said,
Right.
whoever buys it is gonna be kind and let people who wanna see the old dam. get
Correct,
access.
yeah, it was very loose language, so I can't really add more than that.
I think the understanding is that we value the kind of historical aspects of this property, and you're gonna be reasonable to the town citizens that wanna go out there and see what used to be there. To extent-
Charlie,
I think Dan Foley, he had hand surgery last week and unfortunately, his hand probably looks like a catcher's mitt right now. But, so he couldn't make it. He didn't make it Monday to see Sandy and he didn't make it tonight. So anyway,
And he's made it to like
he was here for the
BBC meeting
conceptual.
and a
He was here for the
conceptual.
conceptual and he described how he wants to build a stone, I don't wanna call it a driveway out by the road, but a path. And then picnic tables and whatnot, but in reading, what was uncovered, like, he also wanted and envisioned, he still has the gentleman's card from the Historical Society that I met at the get-together at the library. But anyway, the photographer.
Yeah, Eric Epson.
Yes, so anyway, it's appeared with that write-up that we can't touch anything, but Dan's vision was, if there's dead wood in there, let's get rid of it. Make it so people wanna go there and have lunch, or, maybe somebody takes it is gonna sound corny, but takes their grandkids and say, hey, this was a mill at one time, or whatever.
Yeah, more preserve what.
Yes, cause
Yeah, he is.
Dan's a history buff.
I think that's what the select board intended at the time.
Yeah,
And
that's what he
if-
wants.
And if ultimately you need to get a clarification of that, I think you go to the select board to get that, and I can assure you, you'll get it.
Okay, yeah, cause we have every intention of just making it so people wanna go there, not harm anything. That's not gonna happen.
Same from the Heritage Commission, we received comments saying exact same thing, they envision it as a picnic area, walking path, any way to kind of ensure there's public access and that it's a pleasant place to visit. I think even if there's some sort of a interpretive panel, if Eric or someone from the Heritage Commission is able to dig up any photos or stories or any information about what was there, to put it on a panel so that people can.
I've seen some pictures, it's amazing
Yeah.
what they had there. It was built up, it was quite the structure.
So I think it'd be a good, I was just saying, I think it'd be a good collaborative effort between the town, the Heritage Commission and Ballard Truck Center to make that happen.
It's funny because Ballard, when they got their start back in the 20s or whatever, before my time, believe it or not, they started out making wagon wheels and stuff like that, and Dan and I were talking today, and he's like, he goes, I wouldn't be surprised. I said, Dan, back then, Worcester, Bow, that was a 4-day ride, man. There's no way they bought anything from Ballard back then. There's no way, it didn't happen. And then it kinda hit home then when I explained to him by Worcester. A Model A, I couldn't imagine driving to Worcester from here back in the 20s.
Yeah, I think the only suggestion I have is just trying to minimize areas that sort of get cleared for access, that you kind of limit it and make sure it's apparent to people where they could go versus having a larger area cleared.
So a
just
traditional walking
maintain the-
path, not you don't want a football field.
Right.
You want a walking path.
Right, and also that there's not, you know, there's enough clear that people can enjoy it, but not totally mowed type of thing.
And when you say that, I'm picturing a
Selective
rail
cutting.
trail.
Selective cut, and also not mowing, I just think of some things in town that people just don't know why they mow around the trees, but anyway.
I'm picturing the rail trails around Lake Massabesic. When you say that to me, that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah.
Cause they're not too wide, they're probably 6 feet, if that, in some
Yeah.
spots.
Even, yeah, I would just say you can make something that's maybe ADA, that's, you know, the width that a wheelchair accessible type of thing. I wouldn't go much wider than that.
But I mean, that's kind of an after.
Oh, yeah, this is.
We're glad to hear
Cart
that.
before the horse.
It sounds like, you know, everybody's on the same page of wanna make it accessible, but not disturb it too much.
I think it goes to just understanding what the town is hoping for when.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you know what, when we go to do it, why don't we work together on it?
Yeah, yeah. We've got a 300-year anniversary coming up, so might be a good project to get some people behind.
Yep, definitely. Checklist things, most of them were actually already there and I just didn't find them, so those are all set. Restoration plan and cost estimate, are those,
Those we will have to put together.
okay. So the projects, because it requires an AOT permit, we ask for the restoration plan and a cost estimate, so that you can consider requiring a restoration bond for the site. They've requested 3 waivers, 2 relating to landscaping. Do you wanna explain them, or do you want me to?
Up to you, totally up to you.
I'll let you can go first and then I'll.
So we're looking for a waiver as it relates to trying to find it here in this large pile of. Is the area under the power lines where we required the 10-foot, I think is it 10 foot?
I will just say that it was very evident to me that whoever did your landscape plan paid very close attention to our requirements, which are not easy to interpret, and I think you stuck to them to a T more than I've seen anyone else do it.
So that means you don't have to talk about it anymore.
Well, they've requested a couple waivers from it, but I just appreciate the way you exactly responded to each requirement.
Yeah, we tried to look at it in the whole and, you know, also take into consideration the topography that as it relates and the fact that, you know, the abutters to the north really are gonna be looking straight over everything out to the highway, so. We didn't see that particular, you know, area as a real focus. We tried to focus it, you know, on the sides and the side of the building and less towards the rear.
Yeah, so you request not doing a landscape strip in the utility right away, and then, yeah, where the slopes are such that it just
There's
doesn't
no
make sense.
visual, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell, but the only comment that I would say on the landscaping is being cognizant of where some of those trees are being planted, especially with respect to the snow storage areas. Cause as those trees mature,
Yeah, it's the constant challenge we have where we try to space them out.
Yeah.
And, you know, as everybody knows, we unfortunately, snow doesn't always get plowed timely.
I'm just looking at it from the standpoint, you've got a guardrail on that top parking, and then you're putting the trees in that snow storage right below that, and then you've got a line of trees down on the lower lot, so you're gonna start to get limited with snow storage.
Yeah, we anticipate that, to some degree. You know, my expectation is they'll be using the loader to push it over that rail, and a lot of it will probably end up getting pushed down to the bottom, and then pushed up onto the slope below the guardrail, so. Again, with the clearing with the loader, it'll be much easier to deal with than trying to push it towards the trees themselves.
And the other waiver was under the utility lines to have shorter species, right?
Yes, correct.
And then I don't know if anyone has any comments about the species.
I was gonna say, I defer to Sandy on the species.
I said anyone, but I meant Sandy.
Even I knew that.
There was an additional waiver, I believe, that
Yes.
we had talked about that I'd responded to you in.
Yeah, do you wanna just finish the conversation about landscaping first and then?
So which, I'm trying to see which areas things were being planted in or were,
The
was in a.
last two pages of it, and they have a breakdown of the landscape legend on the very last page.
Right, I did see that.
So this one, starting with this one, so they're planting here, here.
Right, but this is the easement. So I thought that they were talking about the height in the easement.
No, they're talking about, there's a power line that's gonna run right across here.
Okay.
And not planting this tall tree with respect to, there's a transformer up right there.
Oh, right, okay.
So the line runs out to the street, that's what they were talking about there.
Yeah, that's their, that's
So you're looking for alternate shorter species? Is that
Yeah,
right?
well, I think my question in general is, how do you feel about the species selected overall? I see some natives, I don't know if they all are.
Yeah, I know, there's some cultivars, but, I could probably the Juniperus chinensis sea green, is that, I don't know whether you can substitute something more native for that. I suspect that's a low one, I was just looking for, things that were obviously not native.
And they're on the front of the building and the front parking lot.
Yeah, the junipers are strictly in front of the foundation plantings. I believe.
I don't recall what height those get, or those pretty short. You know, whether something, I don't know, like inkberry would work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only experience that I'm familiar with inkberry is they do not do well with snow or any kind of salt.
Oh,
I learned that from my own experience.
right, no, that's, that counts.
But we can certainly look to change those out with
Okay.
a more native if you so desire. I don't think there's anything holding us to those.
So in general, the board likes to encourage as much native as practical.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the rest look pretty good.
And then the third waiver request is about monuments.
Correct. So we have well over 500 feet along Route 3A that we'd be looking for a waiver for. Their existing, I believe, granite bounds that are there currently. Then the other area would be along I-93, which is depicted by, I believe, 3 existing monuments and the state highway fence that runs right on top of it.
The fence is the boundary.
Yeah, there's definitely some jigs and jogs in the property line that go over a stone wall. We'd recommend putting drill holes, so there's some clarity on those. Typically, those are on this portion of the property, not even really what we're working on, but closer to 3A. So we'd recommend, put drill holes where we could, but avoid trying to rip up the DOT fence to put in granite bounds.
That makes sense. So basically just looking for waiver for where it's,
Yeah, because of the 500 feet requirement, it, yeah, again, along the highway is the longest portion, so.
yeah.
And then I had asked them to provide a brief narrative explaining how they meet the performance standards of the Aquifer Protection District, and they provided that. Do you wanna
Sure.
any comment on it?
I mean, we can just add, you know, we're design, these stormwater basins are gonna be filter basins. As I said, you know, product's gonna be stored inside the building, we are doing a holding tank, we deal with the floor drains. On our plans, we've actually included, Green Snow Pro, snow removal. Awesome. I know it's not typically required, but since you've had issues with salt and wells, it made the most amount of sense to me to include it.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
I figured that would be beneficial to you folks. And other than that, you know,
Comment on storage of materials.
yeah, the storage, as we said, will most all be inside, so we don't
They'll
anticipate.
be on the building, what's really cool, what we're doing here is it's gonna be six bays on each side, drive-through, so 12 bays, all 20 feet wide, but you're gonna have 3, and then you're gonna have a 20-foot wide space that's gonna be 20 feet where there's the door here for parts to bring in, like an engine or whatever for a job. But that whole 20 feet, the 90 feet wide of the building is all gonna be open space for storage, whether it be waste oil tanks for our waste oil burners or any type of oil for changing motor oil in the vehicles. That'll all be in that space, so we're not robbing from the technicians, and a safe workspace as well for them. So that's what, all that stuff will be inside.
It's a smart design.
I'm sorry?
Smart design.
Yeah, it ought to be really good. I mean, it's gonna be better than the hole we're in right now, but, it'll be good.
So this the board should consider is whether or not, third-party engineering review specifically for stormwater or any other issues, if you think that's necessary.
This is getting AOT.
Yes.
Yeah, AOT's looking at it, right? And we for all, stormwater, right?
I have a couple of questions.
Him, not me.
It's there?
Alright, I just, maybe the other plans have more detail, but I was curious about what this little site feature here with the grading is. This little guy down here,
Which sheet are you on?
C7.
You're talking about the path?
It looks like, yeah,
That's a path to maintain access for Eversource. Cause we're grading some, cutting in and grading the slopes. So
oh, okay.
we pretty much tried to just create a connection so that if they have to get through, they can get through without trying to traverse down a 3-to-1 slope.
Gotcha.
Across the parking lot per se.
So is that road, like, it kind of stops, does it just keep going, well, the dash line, I guess, which is the gravel, and it just turns to,
Yeah, there may be something missing there, but it does connect up to those two further up, if you're looking, south on the plan.
and then, on sheet C4,
Yep.
on the northwest corner of the building, that little checkerboard things, are those like,
Those are the underground concrete, leaching chambers.
for stormwater?
Those are for the septic, yep.
Oh, yeah, for septic, okay, gotcha. And then just on the ponds, I didn't see where, I see it looks like there's a couple of spillways.
Yep.
Is that how from the main pond area, that's how the water gets out, or is there like a structure? Or?
It is an emergency overflow. There is no outlet structure simply because of the sand material. It's expected all to infiltrate, so that's in case that it didn't infiltrate and had to go someplace, but there's a fair amount of storage simply because of the material that's obviously on site, like everybody knows, sand, so.
So what storm event is that before it goes?
Well, for the state, we have to make sure that we, so on the 50-year, on the front one, that's only building up to 303.58, so you can see we're at 308 in the parking lot. So we've got quite the hole. And part of that was just necessitated by trying to intercept the driveway drainage that was coming down to the right of way, which drove everything further into the ground, unfortunately.
I have
You
heard
can
that,
see that on C8.
I have heard that water coming down the driveway to 3A has been a issue.
I have no doubt. And that's why we're incorporating high-speed grates to catch that, so it doesn't run out to the.
Anything else, Al? Anybody else got any questions?
Sidewalk.
Yeah, that's it. So, prefer to do this on an afternoon, Saturday.
Probably.
Whatever you guys want, we will be there.
So the 10th works good for me.
Depends on the time of the.
12:30? 12:15?
I would say don't plan it around me, cause that weekend is a complete disaster right now, so. It's opening weekend for baseball and softball,
Is it?
yeah. So,
12:30 work for everyone else?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll be there, everybody.
No. Works for you, Sandy?
Yes.
There you go.
My,
You wanna
12:30
make
on
an
Saturday?
announcement?
yeah, so this is, my last planning board meeting.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my term runs out May 1st and I'm not gonna do another one. I've been on the board for 10 years. And, thank you. Yeah, it's been good. Learned a lot.
Wow.
Thank you,
Hopefully I've
Ben.
been helpful here
You
and
did a lot.
Yeah.
Don't you get a watch at 12 years?
No.
Oh, you don't?
Unfortunately, it's a Ballard's Timex, and so.
Oh, my.
So,
Oh,
I mean,
we're gonna miss
you
you.
got time for one more sidewalk if you're both.
So we gotta do it before May 1st.
Yeah, we can do it before May 1st. It's fine with us. Or you can show up and heckle them.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, open to the public.
Yeah.
So, actually, are
Okay.
you scheduled to site walk? Are you good with that?
So,
12:30 on the 10th?
12:30, yeah, see what you can do.
I can always go and walk it on my own, so.
Would
Can you
you,
make-
I'm
not around that, that's
Oh,
a baseball issue.
I'll offer, this is gonna sound weird, but I could have our marketing guy come up from Worcester and video along with the group if you'd like, and supply that to you if that helps you.
I don't know, we all go like.
Well,
I mean,
It's not an equal.
Would the 3rd be better?
that's the end of vacation for schools.
Yeah, it's
I won't be.
I'm done with kids, so I don't know these things anymore.
I would just be, no.
Are
It's not any better.
Saturdays bad, or would an evening work better?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do
And
an
after work?
after work.
Yeah, we could do a 5:30 on,
The 14th, the day before?
No, cause I'm out of town.
It doesn't, I mean, it can be anytime.
That week, maybe the week before, does the week before work?
Wednesday the 7th?
Don't we have a meeting May 8th?
We do have a meeting May 8th,
So can we do it before that meeting?
Wait, we have a meeting on May 8th?
Special
Yeah,
one.
for,
Special one.
Like site plan?
The
Or
site plans,
subdivision.
Must
yeah.
have missed putting that one in my.
actually, that would work for me.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
So,
Right?
what do you
So
think?
the
What do we
8th at
think?
5:30?
5:30?
Okay.
Would there be room for us to, if you have a meeting that night after the site walk, to get on the agenda for that meeting to try to go for the final approval?
That's a special meeting, right? You're May 8th, so it would be the.
Yeah, or it's not a meeting for.
I took
for
a shot.
applications. Take a shot, right? I mean, chair can decide.
I mean, we're here. I mean, we don't,
I guess, so,
Put it on the agenda.
The thing is that there are other things that have to be
Yeah.
done, so if
I
we
mean,
vote on third-party review,
so that is the question, is there anything else that you want to see from them before that meeting? Do you want to see a third-party review? Do you,
I
is there
think
anything
it's a big
else?
enough site that it should have third-party review.
I mean, for the drainage. I mean, AOT is gonna look at it too. and-
Well, AOT looks at it with their
Yeah,
rules and requirements in mind, and some of ours can be a little bit different, or we've had questions, I know in the past about, they thought it was close enough, but we said, no.
Does the board, one question, does the board want something staked out on site before your site walk? And if so, what?
yeah, I mean, knowing, where the building's gonna set and some of, if you can get some parking lot corners would. Right, I mean, that's, so we know where stuff's gonna
Definitely
be.
corners,
Yeah, building corners, parking lot corners.
kind of show the driveway center line. Does it come, unless it's already pretty much existing,
Well, and I think,
Where you come in is pretty,
it's pretty clear.
it lines
Yeah.
up with the traffic light.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty clear, but the one that probably will come into the question is the one that goes off that lower lot. That driveway that drops down to the lower truck show lot.
A truck display area?
Yeah.
The
That
problem
one,
with that
yeah.
one's gonna be is that big mound of dirt that's there right now is gonna be
Right.
very misleading,
I know, but
so we're gonna have to.
knowing like where the farthest southern edge of that, right? Cause it's on the south.
So you're looking for like,
Yes, yeah, that,
Then we'll just have to envision this out of the way.
yeah.
What's
We just
the
said when
top-
we had to
what's the
envision a
top-
building corner that was gonna be 30 feet lower.
What's that?
We had to envision the building corner that was gonna go down 30 feet.
Where was that at?
So,
on the road.
right down the road,
Yeah.
the white, where
Blasting
they-
out.
they're gonna take
They're
out.
blasting out 30 feet of ledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
guess
How
you
are we all in sand here?
I'm glad we didn't find out.
Well, you have sand, you could hit rock out there at some point.
I don't know, they dug down the test,
14 feet.
nothing. So far,
Knock on that.
Yeah, the whole 10 feet.
We didn't
away could
dig
be
everywhere though, that's been my experience.
It's sand till you hit ledge.
That is right.
I know we found it.
Until you go to put utilities in, that's always the way it works.
So we were talking with the
third party.
third party. I mean, the other thing on here is, I look at the engineer and what, their past histories are and you've been very good with stuff, what the stuff TF Marion does.
Oh, yeah, but I think for something of this size, it would be good to have a third-party review.
How's the rest of them?
How much time will that add to it?
We could have it, as long as we have a contract and a check in a timely fashion, we can,
Payment here tomorrow.
we can have it ready by the May 15th meeting. Most likely, usually he's got like a 3-week time period he puts on it, as long as,
the review?
Scott Borsier from Gale Engineering. We couldn't get it for May 8th, but May 15th, I'm
Is
most
good.
likely, or especially if we tell him we need it, then he will do it.
I mean, outside of that, is there anything else, cause I mean, I'm impartial on that personally, but I can see pluses and minuses. Outside of that, is there anything else that we would want?
So the restoration plan, which is already on your to-do list, it sounds like,
Cost estimate.
and the cost estimate that goes with that.
But if they have those done, what are we planning on doing on the 8th? Do we have a lot on the agenda? Like, could they be put on that, and then if for some reason the third-party engineering doesn't turn out, we could postpone it to that following week? The 15th?
I think it would be unlikely to get the third-party engineering done by the
By
8th.
the 8th, okay,
So, I know it's asking a lot.
alright. I was trying.
So if we rely on the alteration of terrain, then we could be done by the 8th? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, the difference is that the town's engineer, his job is to protect the town interests specifically. So that is why third-party review is done, for the town.
And I think it's complicated enough, there's a lot of things going on here, we probably do wanna have him take a look at it.
Yeah, I would say we should have, my vote would be to have a third-party engineer. I'm not an engineer, so reading these plans are.
I mean, for a project this big, you
Yes.
know, I don't think it's appropriate to play favorites with who's done a good job in the past and who hasn't. I think it needs to be, you know, this is a big project and complicated and needs to have third-party review.
All right,
Do you wanna take a vote to?
Okay, I move that we require third-party review.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Sure, we'll get it.
Okay.
All those opposed?
Can we put this on the agenda?
No, I got a question.
Can we put it on the agenda for the 8th, and then if we don't have it done in time, move it to the 15th?
We can try.
Does that work?
Yeah, that'd be great.
You said you'd bring a check tomorrow.
I mean, we can try.
Well, I was gonna ask, what do I have to do?
He's gonna have to put together an estimate, I assume.
Exactly, so I'll reach out to him first thing tomorrow
So I
morning,
wait till I hear from you then.
because he's gonna tell you how much to write on the check.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so I'll ask him to prepare a scope and fee, town signs it, we'll send it to you guys to sign, and then you'll send us a check and we'll put it in escrow.
How long does that usually take for him to get the quote back to you?
Couple of days.
Okay, so this isn't, I don't have to be
Monday.
back here tomorrow.
Oh, no,
Okay. Well, I'm just
probably
saying.
not, unless he's got
Well,
nothing
no,
to
if he
do
can
tomorrow.
quote it tomorrow, I'll be here tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
Can get it
We'll be
done.
in touch.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so once we get the check, we'll send him the notice to proceed, and then he does his thing.
And you have everything to send him, obviously.
Yep.
I hope so.
You hope so.
It's gone to everybody else, so.
There you go.
He does like a
Paper copy?
full-size set of plans.
Trying to save trees and cut more down.
Well, can we start cutting and we can? No?
I guess, is there anything else? We didn't really talk about the conditional use permit. We
the
talked about
wetlands.
the reduction of the wetland impact. One thing I had noted is I'd like to see the wetland buffer impact quantified on the plan. It's on the application. I didn't see the buffer impact on there. Maybe it's hidden. You found everything else I asked for.
Could be.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It says 812 square
Well,
feet.
that's the
That's a
wetland,
wetland.
but that's
Yeah,
the buffer.
I don't think we put the buffer, but I'll
Oh,
make
the
sure.
buffer impact, right.
It may be on a plan somewhere, but
You'll make sure it is.
absolutely. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
And then you can see they provided their responses to the 10.01 and 12.05 criteria.
Was there something said about fire once? Third-party review too, or they?
That'll come later when they get,
When they go to do a building permit, I'm sure the state will require the state fire marshal to review it. That's typically based on the size, anything I think 12,000 or over. If I remember correctly, some triggers that.
yeah, so that comes later. They just wanted to give a heads up, so it wasn't a surprise.
So what else we need to do these gentlemen
And we did
tonight?
have a public hearing.
Oh, yeah. I'll open the public hearing. I'll close the public hearing, not seeing anybody. And now we just need to continue to the 8th. Do we wanna move that?
I'll make that motion.
It's for both applications, just to clarify.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We will see you on the 8th.
See you on the 8th, and if the 8th gets pushed back, see you on the 15th.
Yes.
We'll do the site walk on the 8th regardless.
Yeah, we're gonna see you on the 8th, so.
No, are we done?
No, minutes?
Minutes?
Walk across the door.
Well, actually,
We have to continue the
I-
application.
oh, did we vote to continue the application?
That one, but the next one.
What's that?
So Amber Bow Associates,
Oh, yeah, we're done with these guys.
What's that? This one's done.
Yeah, you voted to continue.
Yeah, but I was
So
talking about the
Amber
next
Bow.
one. I'll make a motion to continue application 203-25 Amber Bow Associates to 5:15.
Second.
All those in favor?
Who's that? Second. Thanks.
You got one in there, bud.
I'll just, we've been working with, the applicant and DOT to develop, plans for the intersection improvements at the 3A. There's been some feedback from DOT that they would not be able to permit the plan that they had originally proposed, or any of the three that they had originally proposed. And, but they did indicate that they would consider permitting a plan that had a left turn bypass shoulder. For, if you're going north on 3A and you're gonna turn left onto Dow Road, it would be a shoulder so that
So
when you
people
stop
can
to
go
turn
by the
left, that
truck
people can
cars
get
and-
around. People can get around you so the cars don't back up on
Kinda
3A.
like there is to turn on a river road. They widen the shoulder.
Yeah,
out.
exactly, it's widened so you can get around. So that's the idea. The applicant has engaged with a new engineer who is gonna be working on that plan and it just isn't ready yet.
And
So
the state still doesn't like two lanes coming off of,
they were insistent that it needs a left turn lane. But this was a compromise, it's like at least give us a shoulder there. So we're working toward that compromise.
A left turn, so let me ask this question, maybe you don't know this, but a left turn lane, but what about southbound? Cause I feel like that's just as, people coming off of that. Are
Wait.
the southbound traffic's trying to get around them, so they're just gonna drive into that.
South.
well, the southbound's going through, I mean, if you.
If you're
when
making a turn
turning-
though, if
if
someone's
you're-
turning in.
Yeah, but
they
they're
have to turn
turning, they're
down.
not stopping to wait to turn,
So I mean, they're turning right onto Dow Road,
they're
you
turning
mean?
right onto Dow.
So one
I'm
of, that
saying
was,
that
that was
the
Plan B.
plan.
That was Plan B.
Yeah,
That was Plan B. DOT said, yeah, that's nice, but the real problem is the left turns, for the northbound. Because when you're making a right turn, you kinda just turn and get out of the way, you're not stopping, waiting your turn. like,
no, I
your
get
turns
that, I'm
are-
just
yeah.
saying what happens, cause it happened to me today,
Okay, yeah.
is traffic swerves out and around you as you're slowing down to
As
turn
you're slowing
on
down.
to
Yeah.
Dow.
Yeah, yeah.
They swing out, and now if there's a left turning lane into that, they're gonna do that even more so.
Well, no, I think,
Well, it's not gonna be a left
not
turning
gonna be a
lane.
left-
There's
I
gonna- there's gonna
understand
be
a spot for it, I'm saying
Yeah.
wider on the northbound, they're more likely to do that, I think, it's just my.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why the,
Sounds like
some of the
a-
traffic studies and the town's third-party review said that it needs the right turn lane and the left turn lane.
Weren't they already considering Plan B anyways?
Who's they?
Or wasn't that like the compromise? It's like the state didn't like A or B, they wanted C.
They wanted C, yeah.
But didn't,
And
I'm trying to remember when they were here before, weren't they saying B was kind
They
of
were
their?
saying they were going for B and now DOT has said, hold on, don't waste your time, we're not gonna
Not at
approve
all,
that.
they don't want it.
and B would
Does that
have
have
been,
the turn-
would have been ultimately 4 lanes?
No,
No.
B was
No,
just
B.
the right turn
It's kind of
lane.
widening the southbound, the
Yeah, it provides a
area, so you
southbound,
can-
right?
But that doesn't solve the problem at all.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's.
That's
Exactly.
The only thing that it did is when you're waiting to turn left off of Dow, it gave you better sight distance.
Yes, I was thinking
That was
about
the only
that.
thing that it
Distance and
did.
the width.
And so what is C?
C was the left turn lane.
This plan?
No, C.
No, C was
This is-
the $2 million plan.
C was a real
Like a
left
whole
turn
turning lane in the middle.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's C.
I like that idea.
It's very expensive.
DOT doesn't have the money and neither does.
Yeah, but nobody else wants to pitch in.
Guy building the $30 million buildings. Could pitch in.
Doesn't wanna spend.
Not $2 million. I guess.
So that's where we're at. Anyways, we will hopefully see that next month. Stay tuned. And you already voted to continue it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, I think we got some minutes we're probably gonna do.
I don't have any comments on the minutes. They're perfect.
Wow. Round of applause for Ginger.
Don't hold back.
And I just wanna say that.
Is somebody gonna make a motion?
Before we do that, Adam's been reviewing the minutes
Yes.
in his role as secretary, and I just wanna thank him for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
All your service out of
Yeah.
No, you've had some, very good input, very good
Yeah,
questions, and, for all the drainage, that stuff. It's been nice having you on here.
So, yeah, you're required to appoint another engineer.
Yeah,
May
got
have
any,
someone.
got any coworkers that are interested in being on,
They live in
that
Bow.
live in Bow?
You guys remember
Have
Kristen?
nothing to do on Thursday nights for,
Yeah,
You do?
what's that?
Do you remember Kristen Hayden? She was on the
Yeah.
board.
yeah.
She's interested.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, she should come back. She was really good.
Yeah. And she's an engineer, so.
Yeah, she was very good.
Okay, I'll talk to her.
Yeah. I was sorry when she had a baby and
Her
left.
daughter's friends with my daughter, so
Oh.
that's the connection.
Oh, nice. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
great. She was
yeah.
very good.
Okay. See what I can do. All right, so we do need a motion on the minutes. Sorry for the interlude.
I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
I abstained because I wasn't here.
Okay, I move that we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor? I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That was quite the agenda to get out of here in 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.